Alrighty. So I left off, I was telling you about all the different side hustles that I've tried, and I've tried a lot of them. Voiceover artist, one more time, I've applied, not gotten anywhere. I've even filled out those little, when somebody says, they say, record your voice saying this, blah, blah, blah. What they were really doing is AI training to make the AI voiceovers. And voiceovers, AI is going to be taking over a lot of that. Audible is going to be going to predominantly AI because the billionaire tech bros have decided that they would rather have AI running the world and everybody else being their little feudling, starving feudal systems, the peasants working on the farm for nothing. So, anyway. And my voice is also a little too rough to really be a good thing. Like, I've got kind of a character voice, and I can read well. I always have. I'm expressive, but I just have never been able to do it properly. Virtual interior design consultation. Come on. People are doing that with AI again. Online or actually translate and transcribe. AI has come through and just decimated, devastated, destroyed. Pick your synonym. That hustle or that industry, AI has taken it over. It's far easier and cheaper to run it through AI, spend 10 minutes redoing it, sending it off. Nobody's going to pay you. And transcriptionists didn't make a lot of money before. Rent a spare room. One more time. I don't have a home that I can rent for myself. And this also goes back to have $500 or $500,000 so you can buy a condo and rent it to other people. Create handmade goods. I'm a knitter, okay? What they leave out is that your raw materials are going to cost a lot more, and then you have to add the amount of time that you put in making the item, and you cannot sell it for a reasonable price. You can't even break even most of the time unless you somehow figure out how to AI it, which a lot of people just don't, because then it's not handmade. Some people have been selling AI designs, which, isn't the end of the world, but it's not the same thing. And just to give you an idea of what kind of, I made a sweater. It was a nice sweater. It was a cable knit sweater. The yarn cost, I believe it was around $120. It wasn't even particularly fancy yarn. It was worsted weight, kind of scratchy. And I bought it at Lens Mill stores. And it took me 2 years to make that. And it was a gift for a friend. But if I had sold it, I would be really lucky if I could charge $100 for it. So is $100 for a handmade good enough to offset $120 in raw materials and 2 years of your life making it? And anybody who does make handmade goods, I mean, I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure they can do some things. Sometimes they might even break even, but a lot of people, they just don't. Most of us who are, we hand make stuff, or we're knitters, or we're crafty or creative or whatever, we just do it for love, for fun, for clicks on Instagram, whatever. I mean, once it gets colder, I could sit here and knit a sweater, and you can watch me if you want. Just monetize it, right? The next thing, making and selling t-shirts. This one is a real right fucking joke. Same thing with any kind of products where And they say, oh, it's so easy. You design the product, you put it on a site like Shopify, or whatever, or any of the t-shirt sites, and then you just let the money roll in. Okay, here's what they don't tell you. Now, first of all, you have to pay a membership fee to each of these sites. And this includes Etsy too. You have to actually pay a one-time fee. I think it's like a one-time fee, and then there's like monthly fees. And if you don't make a certain threshold, they charge you fees on what you're selling. So be aware of that. Number two, you have to pay fees for the design, any of the design software that you're going to use. Canva is $19 a month. In video, Imagine AI. I've used all of these at different times and in different ways for different projects. They all cost money. And one more time, I'm jobless and homeless. I have no money. And I'm not averse to paying a small fee every month so I can keep using Canva. But right now I just can't afford it. So that's problem number one. You pay fees for the design software. You pay fees to the site to put your stuff on it. Here's where they really don't tell you anything. Etsy, Shopify, all of the big sites, when someone buys your product, so let's say you've made a t-shirt, and let's say the t-shirt has a base price of $49, which Canadian t-shirts, a lot of them are like $50-$60. What they don't tell you is that you have to pay for every item that you sell. So somebody goes click, 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 oh hey, I like that t-shirt, orders one, you pay for it. And then the site, then when the customer's credit card clears, the site, I guess they refund it plus your commission, but that could be 60 days. And they say, oh, you can sell thousands and thousands of t-shirts. So each t-shirt is $50. If you sell 1,000 t-shirts, that's $50,000 that they will hold, that you have to pay up front, that they will hold until the customer's credit card goes through. And it could be 60 days. And then you get your commission at $5 a t-shirt. So you sell $5 a t-shirt. You've already paid all the money for your fees. And this also is, oh, and then you get your, you've sold 1,000 t-shirts. You get between 2 and 5. Oh, some of them are like $2 a t-shirt. Okay, so $2 a t-shirt. So you get your $2,000 back. And then you have to pay your taxes. You still have to pay, I'm not sure what HST and whatever is in Canada. But yeah, tell me, there was one, oh my goodness, it was something Ted. She's a Kiwi. She's from New Zealand. And she's always out there talking about how you can start a business and it's free. That just goes on and on and on. But not once did she say, you have to pay for it up front. What she says, well, you get points on your credit card. I call that a good deal. That Aussie or Kiwi accent. And I'm like, you lying liar who lies. It's such a lie. All of it is such a lie. And and I did put some, now there are some sites that you don't have to pay up front. Redbubble you don't. Teespring you don't. Threadless you don't. But nobody bought a single t-shirt. And they were pretty cute designs. And there were other products there too, like candles and notebooks. And yeah, I just went hog wild designing all this stuff. And nothing, not a single sale. So, I mean, maybe my problem is I'm just not a good marketer. Maybe there's so many thousands of people who have the same idea. Nothing about me stands out, but this is what they don't tell you. I'm dropping the real tea here. All right, so the next thing that we come to is drop shipping business. Now what drop shipping is is similar to going into a vintage into a used store, buying it and reselling it on eBay or whatever. But instead of doing this with a physical product, you can do it virtually. So say I go to Shine or Alibaba and I buy some makeup, and then I turn around and I put it onto Amazon. Amazon then packages it and sells it to the customer and sends it to the customer once the customer has paid for it. But again, one more time, you have to pay for it first. So you've already paid for it at Shine, and then you have to pay for it again when Amazon gets the order, and then they send it to the customer, and you're responsible for if they're not satisfied, if they don't pay, if they send it back, right? So I don't know how anybody makes any money doing that. And there is something just slightly, I wouldn't say unethical, but there's something slightly shady about, or at least it feels that way to me, about buying this cheap over here and then turning around and selling it to Amazon, who, by the way, take a giant commission and are, I mean, they're just an absolute destructive force, like the dragons that burn down the frickin' world in Reign of Fire. And you don't find that just a little shady? I don't know, I find it shady. Alrighty. Now, the last couple of things here. The one is sell digital products, which we've already touched on. So what digital products are? Things like journals, educational sheets. Some people create digital art and sell it to be printed and packaged and sent off. Some people, design coloring books. Some people, whatever. A digital product that you can, or an ebook is pretty common. Now, first of all, they say, oh, it's just so easy. You can just do click, 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 and use a little template, blah, blah, blah. But, and there are actually sites that have rights. It's called PRR, something like that. Anyway, you're allowed to resell it as long as you alter it a little bit, like put a different cover on it or something, and you can call it your own. So there are sites where you can just buy these things made for you, and then, or there's something else, there's another kind that you can put it up and sell it with your name on it, but you can't alter it at all. It's MRR rights, right? Which again seems a little bit, it's not really shady, but it seems a little disingenuous to your customers. Like if I sell a dream book and I put my name on it and I'm like, hey, this is a dream interpretation book, blah blah blah. Okay, but I didn't write it, I didn't put it together. And same any of the done for you templates. Well, there's lots of stuff on Canva that you can use, and I'm not averse to using it. I just put up a couple of ebooks that are little children's stories that I think are pretty cute. They're altered, but they are AI generated. They're heavily altered, and I put a lot of work into them. I did put a lot of work into them because I have no design skills, no artistic skills, nothing whatsoever. But the end product actually turned out pretty cute. Nobody's buying it, but hey, can't have everything, right? But they say, oh, you can just do it so quickly. You can just put it there and just make thousands of dollars and blah blah blah. They don't tell you that it's a lot of work. First of all, you have to learn how to use the design stuff. When again, I'm old, I have no skills, and I very painstakingly have to put everything together one by one. And the other thing that they don't tell you about getting it up on the KO, okay, that was a whole saga in itself. So the first time I tried KDP, I used one email address. It didn't work. So I set up a different email address. Now that one worked and got me into an actual KDP account. And then it says, okay, and so they take all your information. You have to actually put your driver's license on there, which I'm always skeptical about. But one more time, go ahead and steal my identity. You're not going to get anything. I'd like to see that when it happens. Amazon. And then they say, okay, well, you can just upload a PDF right to Amazon. Nope, you can't. Amazon has this thing called a KDF. So you have to take all of your hard work and pages, convert them to PNG files or JPEG files, which is in itself a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if you uploaded it as a PDF from Canva. And then when you upload it as a PNG file, you have to then extract it, and because it comes across, you download it onto your computer as a web or as a zip file, and then you have to extract everything. So there's a lot of extra steps, and then you have to dump it into KDP's software and then re-save it. You go through it and it shows you how it's going to look as an ebook, and then you re-save it as a KDF file, and then you have to re-upload it to your KDP bookshelf. And then you have to do the same with your cover. And then I still have not figured out how to put anything into a paperback, because a paperback has to be at least 72 pages. Now, what children's book is 72 pages? I can't figure that one out. I'm going to try it again with a different book that's longer, like some kind of kids book, I don't know. But yeah, it's way more complicated, and one more time, nobody's clicking on it, nobody's looking at it. And in order to promote these little ebooks, I signed up for my website, or I signed up for Insta, TikTok, and another YouTube channel. My idea was English with your fat auntie, so teaching basic language arts to kids who don't speak English, and this character called Fat Auntie. And the graphics are really cute, and I'm hoping that, you know, these things might generate a little bit of interest, sell the books, and also we come to the last thing, which is online tutoring, or the second last thing, which is online tutoring. Now, I wouldn't say the easiest, but the most likely tutoring job for somebody like me who simply has a degree, I graduated from a long time ago, is to get my Teach English as TEFL. It's called TEFL, Teach English as a Foreign Language. You could also get a TESOL, which is Teach English to Speakers of Other Languages, or you can get a CELTA, CELTA, which is stupid expensive, but is kind of like the gold standard. And different ones will get different response, but to teach online, a lot of the companies, they don't require much more than just, you know, saying you have your TEFL certification, and you can get it online. But where the cheap ones for $20, or the Groupon, the ones you get, I have a Groupon, it cost me $20, or the one that you can get for free, where they differ from the more expensive ones is that the expensive ones have a teaching practicum, and it's more valuable, so it's going to cost a lot more. And again, I don't have $4,000 to put into it, so once you're armed with your TEFL certificate, then you have to go out and you can start applying. And you have a couple of options. One is you can apply to an online school, and you can start, you know, you can slot, you put yourself on the schedule for what hours you're available, and then the school matches you up with students, which is great. But there's a lot of politics involved, number one. Number two, now I'm a native speaker, a native English speaker. English is my first language, but there's a lot of politics if you're not a native English speaker. There's a lot of politics about where you're from in the world, what kind of accent you have. And I mean, if people from the Philippines can live like a king on $4 an hour, it seems like the schools expect to be able to pay anybody else $4 an hour, and they'll just have to take it because this guy over here accepts it. And I don't think it's fair to give anybody $4 an hour. But the standard of living being what it is in Canada, where you have to, you know, if I'm not paying rent, my bills are about $800 before gas, groceries, and debt. That's even without paying for anything housing related, because I'm homeless. I mean, that's $200 a week. That's 50 hours a week I would have to make just to even pay my basic bills. Never mind anything else, right? And I've seen a lot of places that advertise, and they say, oh, you can make up to $20 an hour. That's up to $20 an hour. A lot of them start at $4 or $5 for a half-hour lesson. And then on top of that, the school takes a percentage of it. So that's the one kind of school. And then there's the other kind where it's basically just like a forum where everybody puts up their profile, and the students go on and they pick the teacher that looks the most interesting to them. Well, one more time, dog's breakfast. So I'm not going to work well in a marketplace like that, no matter how qualified I am. And then the third problem, and those marketplaces like Preply, for example, you don't make any money at all for the first 3 lessons, and then when you actually do start making clients or start teaching lessons, getting clients, Preply takes 33% of what you make. So if I charge $6 for a half-hour lesson, I get 4 of it. And then it gets uploaded to my PayPal, and then there's PayPal fees if I want to cash it out. I mean, it's pretty much volunteer work. Which, one more time, I'm not averse to volunteer work, at least it keeps me busy, but there is a point, because you still have to do all the lessons. You still have to, now apparently Preply does have lessons on board, and with AI, this is one way that I actually like using AI, you can do a lesson plan in seconds and teach it up there, but you still have to put in the work to teach the lesson, to make the report, and so on. And teaching is still a lot of work for very little money. And one more, and then the last thing is that a lot of places aren't hiring at all because they just have way more tutors than they do students. And a lot of the people who are also looking for work are people who have many years of teaching experience and master's degrees and far more certification than I do. So it's a lot of competition. I mean, the only thing I have going for me is a Bachelor of Arts and a native English speaking background. And then, I mean, I do have a little bit of a niche in that I've got 25 years of customer service. So if there's anybody that is working in a call center who wants more help with, with conversational phrases, pronunciation, and so on. I forget where I was going with that. Yeah, so teaching English. It's a possibility, but I've applied to lots of schools, nothing biting yet. So the last 2 things that we're left with are affiliate marketing and sponsorships. There is part of me that hopes that somehow I'll be able to fall into, I've done a lot of research, I've looked at all the different things that might be in line with the products that I like and the stuff that I endorse, things that I talk about, but channels like mine that are, I don't know what my channel is. I just kind of get on here when I have a bee on my bonnet about something, but channels like mine where I'm not a finance or politics or history or whatever channel, and so I don't get the views, I don't get the clicks, and therefore I don't have enough of an audience for an affiliate to even be interested in me. I mean, I just signed up today to be an affiliate for a site where you can create coloring pages, and it's actually a pretty cool site, by the way. Okay, so I'll endorse this right now, and I'll put my little affiliate link down there, and maybe somebody will give me some money. That's it for me anyway. I really hope that you're having a good day, and that's another thing too. I mean, obviously you have to be very organized, very driven. Oh, there is one last thing. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tell you how all those sales funnels and all that work. So I'm gonna spill the secrets that other people get paid lots of money to do, because screw them, they're lying to you, and I'm tired of it. All right, I'll be right back. $1,000 to do it because I don't have it. And that is one thing too. When so the first thing that they do when they contact you, they're like, "What about this appeals to you? What brought you here?" And I tell them, "I'm homeless and jobless." And they say, "Well, good luck." And that's that. So, what they do. Here's all the secrets in all the world. I don't think it's a secret, but it takes some time. I'm just going to put it here. And notice how I'm like talking and talking just to keep you here. That's the first thing that they do. All right, so here is how, and I'm going to use this with an example of the business that I would like to start. It's called Your Fat Auntie. And my goal is to have a YouTube channel where I give brief English lessons, like 1 to 3 minutes, as a character called Your Fat Auntie. A fat auntie wears a black shirt, black pants, iconic red hoodie, and you'll see it in all the little graphics. And Fat Auntie is friends with all the little animals in the backyard. And I've got one of them with me right now. Now, Fat Auntie was inspired by the shows that I watched when I was a kid. Shows like the Polka Dot Door, where, you know, they would talk to these stuffed animals that never answered back, but, you know, they made a whole show out of it. So, and also shows like Read Along and where I learned French from a creepy pineapple and a sad clown. Telefrancais was the creepy pineapple. So the purpose of the channel, which I haven't built up I haven't done it yet because I haven't got all my little friends yet. Actually, I'll sit Doug Bunny here with me. Let's see if you can see him. I don't know if you can see him. Nope. I can't keep him in camera range without holding onto him with my hand. All right, there we go. All right, so Doug will just watch me with him. All right, so here's what I plan to do. And the first thing they do is they tell you to put out some social media marketing, right? So step number 1 is I'm going to make 1 to 3 minute videos advertising my services. Now I have to finish my TOEFL certificate first, but I should be able to do that soon. Step number 2 is to get onto all the socials, all the social media. So right now I am signed up for Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And somehow get out there to the people who need to study English. Second step is to have a link where people can go and sign up for an emailing list. Total tangent. Okay, so step 1 is to identify a need of some kind. In this case, people who need or want English lessons for their kids. And the age range that a lot of teachers don't seem to like is the very little ones, like 3 to 5. But I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun just to, teach English to little kids. And it's not like they care a whole lot. They're not going to be asking me questions about the, past participle and gerunds and all that other grammar stuff that I'm like, I kind of know it, but I have to look it up. And yes, I will still teach teenagers and adults and older kids. If they do need a teacher, I'm there. So step number 1 is to make these 1 to 3 minute shorts as English lessons. You can see on my Your Fat Auntie channel that I've been making little storybooks, little ebooks to sell that are aimed at reading out loud, English practice, comprehension, and so on. So step number 2 is to get onto all the socials, and hopefully people will follow my link. Now the link goes to a website or a way that people can sign up and get a freebie. Okay, freebie is very important. So the first freebie, whatever, mini digital product, some kind of tip sheet, some, you know, whatever. In this case, like there's a lot of things. In this case, it'll probably be a little mini book with some tracing lessons and a couple coloring pages, right? Hence I want to pair up with these coloring generators. And yes, in the future, if I get any money, I will pay an illustrator to make some of these things because they're pretty cute. All right. So once you have some people signing up for your email, now what WordPress also has a thing where if you make a post, it automatically sends out an email. So number 3, you get an email list together and you invite them to participate in something, whether it's a webinar or in my case it would be a group lesson. Let's say I have 4 or 5 people who are interested in an introductory lesson. I say, yeah, for $5 you can spend half an hour with Fat Auntie, see if it's a fit, right? And then the next thing is you use your email list to sell them your products. So in my case it would be I send them out, you know, I say, hurry, get on it while it lasts, blah blah blah, here's a pack of lessons which cost you whatever. And that's how you have to build your business, as one of these, they call it a sales funnel, but it really is just an email list that gets people interested. And you bombard people with email every day. In this case it would be something like Fat Auntie's Backyard Animals Club or whatever. Fat Auntie's Animal Club. And you have to give them interesting content through your emails to keep them reading, to keep them interested, and then hopefully they'll start buying your product, or in my case sign up for the lessons. So you can see it requires ideas, and it requires a lot of kind of putting yourself out there. And for me, one more time, I don't have much in the way of skill. Making these books, it takes about a week for me to put together a book that's AI generated because I have no skills. And then I had to, and maybe the next one will be easier, and the next one will be easier. And all of this with no resources, with no money. And they make this promise that it's not going to cost you anything, but it really does. Even if it just costs you a lot of time. And the grift, and it makes me angry that there's this constant pressure that somehow somebody out there has the secret to making all this money, and they don't. The only secret is that they're better at the grift than you are, and that they're better at getting people to give them $1,000 to tell you what I just told you for free. Now, you can call me a fool, but back in the day, we used to do a whole lot of that too. We used to call it culture jamming, right? Like, why is the whole, you can't picture me as a punk because I never really was. Grunge was more my thing. But back in the early 90s, that whole DIY aesthetic, that whole, why do we have to pay corporate people so much money that when we can do it ourselves? And now with AI, we can do it ourselves and do it well enough that it's not nearly as bad. It doesn't look as amateur as it used to. And I'm not saying that it's better than the professionals, because professionals are professionals for a reason. But in comparison to a lot of stuff out there, I don't know, it's not that bad. So that is my rant. It's been over an hour. I didn't think I was going to take this long. I thought it was going to be a little 20-minute video. But I'm going to get this edited, and I'm going to get this up there, and I'm going to put everything out, and maybe I'll get enough views to make Google AdSense. Probably not, but well, I'm just going to keep whiling away here in my little corner of the internet. And yeah, not nearly enough people exposing the scams for the scams. All right, on that down note, I say goodbye. Doug Bunny says goodbye. Hope you're keeping well out there. Have a great day.